Round one focuses naturally enough on the key issue of this election campaign, namely animal impersonators. Paul and Nick, what have this lot had to do with the last 6 weeks?
That's Noel the chicken.
There was a teddy bear party.
Teddy Bear Alliance party.
Yes.
They're all party representatives.
They are. You're
all
really
you
good
want
at
to
this,
know.
aren't you? Yes. Normally, people sort of stumble over it for about 2 minutes before coming up with the right answer, but yes. Yeah, so there was the Teddy Bear Alliance party, yes. What's their slogan?
Free the Andy Pandy too. It's the teddy bear party, because he used to get into that wickerwork basket at the end. And they're still in there.
It may be one of their slogans, but say no to fleas.
The first one was Dr. Mulwiney started the whole campaign by saying that he was sick of how trivial the campaign was and it was time to get back to the issues. And then he launched a man in a chicken suit.
But he was a Labour voter, the chicken.
Noel has said he's not going to vote at all, in fact.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought he was a Labour voter.
Well, he said...
I thought everyone was a Labour voter. Have we got time to take a straw poll to see how everyone voted today?
We've got hours left, yes.
That might be interesting, Ian, don't you think?
Terribly.
It's up to you, Angus. It's up to you. I mean, it wouldn't take long.
That's very kind of you. In that case, we won't bother. For the chameleon-like qualities of round two, the never-changing face of our caption competition, Ian and Richard, have this to inspire them. Paul and Nick, this. And we'll return for some warped interpretations a little later on, if we can be asked. Round two this week is amusingly entitled On the Stump. Well, perhaps not so amusingly entitled On the Stump. A variety of our nation's greatest political minds demeaning themselves in ways only a desperate bid for votes can explain. What are they doing and why is the question even they might have difficulty answering. But that's what our panel will now effortlessly relay. Ian and Richard.
Oh, yes. Yes, these are stewards.
That isn't.
That's Mr. Clark's shoes.
Surrender.
That's Mrs. Thatcher. I can never... You say who it was.
That was Lady Thatcher.
Who's here tonight?
And what was she doing?
She was saying surrender. I think she was miming what Tony Blair would do in the conference chamber over fishing quotas. Surrender.
Yes, she was.
Or no one's told her the Second World War was over. What were the rest of these things? Who was the woman who put the shoes on her hands?
Kenny Clark's shoes. His suede shoes. Reference to.
And why was he doing that?
Because he always wears them.
But not on his hands, normally.
He's saying Gordon Brown
Can't fill these
my brown suede shoes.
Yes, exactly.
And don't step on them.
What does Gordon Brown have one of that Clark has two?
One spare tyre around his waist.
No, he has only one eye. He has a glass eye, Gordon Brown. And Kenneth Clark has two.
I don't think
Two glass eyes.
Is that why his shoes are so big, so he can find them?
And the stewards were keeping... the reason that it was a dance, sort of stewards' dance, they were currying dun, as they say in Scotland, so the cameras could see over them.
So that the cameras could see over them.
To the
yes.
to the candidate
Sky, yeah.
personages.
It was Tony Blair, wasn't it?
Well, they were all wearing grey.
I could have been John Major.
Not only could have been, but most certainly was.
Yes.
Yes.
So there's a lot of people ducking.
Yeah. Yes.
To try and miss the egg.
Showing their bottoms to him. So.
Showing their bottoms to him?
Yes.
This is the sort of triumphalism that made you lose last time.
The volunteer's job is to go in front of the Prime Minister, clearing the street ahead of him, although just shouting John Major's coming normally does the trick. And so to the breathtaking finale that our missing words round so rarely turns out to be. Tonight featuring a number of partially obscured election slogans, such as this, the missing... The missing words here being Britain is and Ming, as opposed to zing, which is probably slightly closer to the mark tonight. And just to keep things irritating, they'll be interspersed by one or two quotes from the past 6 idyllic weeks. So off we start with what's behind Tony Blair?
Beans Hines.
Labour means business.
I'm jolly mean.
I'm trying to look...
I happen to know he's not at all mean.
What about those spending promises, then?
Just wait. Labour means business?
Labour means business is the right answer, very good. Next, curry. After May the 1st, there will be...
Bloodshed.
No more me.
No.
May the 2nd.
I'll give you one. A bloodbath. is
Well,
in fact
there we
how
are.
they-
It
how
said
they,
bloodbath.
yes. Next, what's behind John Major?
I need a.
Is it economic?
Economic miracle. Conservative economic miracle.
No.
Is it Smokey Robinson Andy?
Britain's economic miracle is, in fact, the answer. That's the one that we're currently experiencing, if you hadn't noticed it. Next, Ashdown. John Major reminds me of what?
A row of 1930s semi-detached houses on the A3. Or thereabouts.
Well, it's a good guess, obviously. In fact, he was very close, because the answer is the row of houses on the A3 as you come into Portsmouth. And lastly, what's behind Neil Halton?
Please.
Cash in on
Cashmere
the-
sweater.
Cashew nuts.
Yeah.
No, it is in fact an advertisement, but for Ladbrokes.
Turn your lottery.
Ladbrokes
choices
are
into
accepting
cash.
cash.
Yes, very good. Ladbrokes are accepting cash,
Oh.
is exactly what it said. That's a surprise to us all. How did you get that? And
I just...
it came to you.
It came up on the monitor, actually.
What did?
Oh, did it?
Are you accusing...
The first Labour sleaze.
It came up in the monitor and I read it out.
This is.
If I see something on the screen, I read it. That's what I am. I'm an actor.
As Downing Street celebrations go on past dawn, music lovers sense now may be the time to leave. At the announcement of Ken Livingstone's welcome return to the Labour Party, Alistair Campbell takes personal charge of the photo call. And at a nightclub on Humberside, special zones are introduced to keep people away from known troublemakers. Round one deals with all the major news stories of the week, all one of them. Paul and Giles.
Ah, here he is, the nation's hero. Oh dear.
There's-
The living dead. But I have to look on the bright side. This is an exciting opportunity for the Conservative Party. We've had Wee Willie, we've sucked him dry, we've spat
you
him out.
really?
Yes.
No wonder he was always smiling.
Yeah. We're looking to the future now.
Are you?
And I
So's Ronnie Biggs, I think.
Yeah. But I think I've got the answer, Paul.
Have you?
Yeah. And the answer is this. I've got a new leader for the Conservative Party.
Suddenly.
No. Better than that. Tony Blair. Now, here's a man who's got went to the right kind of school, right kind of university, he's got the right kind of ideas. He and his wife earn about $500,000 a year. These people are Conservatives. They are natural people to lead the Conservative Party.
And they do.
Exactly. I spent some time alone with Mr. Blair during the election campaign.
How can you spend time alone with somebody else? It can't be done. It can't be done.
So who are the real contenders for the Tory leadership? There are some genuine people in the running.
Well, I suppose Anne Widdecombe is there. I'm sorry. Can I say... Look, I haven't done
I do beg your pardon. I thought you said Anne Widdecombe.
Yes.
You've been through the makeover process. You know how it can work. I'm looking here at the Callista Flockhart of room 101.
How dare you?
If you can do it, Anne can do it.
I can do lots of things she can't do.
Excuse me, we're supposed to be on the same side.
Oh, yeah, we are, aren't we?
Yeah.
OK, so just turn on these people over here. Look at this William Hague lookalikes over there.
They know how to work.
Exactly. We're the future. We're as modern as tomorrow we are.
Yeah.
And Anne
We're the
Widdecombe is a good woman.
Anyway, you've had a terrific election. You were on Sky all night and no one watched you.
Yeah. It's the right kind of work to get. Money without exposure.
So who was the first to concede defeat? You probably weren't aware of this.
No, he was too busy on Sky. Hey, he rang up Blair.
Although Michael Portillo was the first to defend the exit polls as he was being grilled by Jeremy Paxman, as we can see.
But this would be a worse result than Labour had in 1983.
Well, when I sat here talking to you this time 4 years ago...
You'd lost your seat.
and you didn't pick up on it, because you weren't very quick that evening, but...
We're getting off to a very good start, aren't we?
You see, he's a very attractive man, let's face it.
Which one are we talking about now?
We're talking obviously about Portillo. Jeremy
Right.
Paxman is not an attractive man. Whereas a lot of people of all shapes and sizes have the hots for Michael Portillo.
Are you drunk? It could be.
You're quite right, I have been up for a very long time.
Have you?
Yes.
That's the effect of visiting Jordan in Stechford.
This is the battle just won by the Labour leadership and the battle just begun for the Tory leadership. Ex-Tory leader William Hague complained that the press had pigeonholed him. People like to attach labels to me. Boy wonder, young upstart. A reasonable point there from the bald loser. The Liberal Democrat Party...
Hang on, you flashed to me there. There's some rule that says bald people can't become Prime Minister anymore. I think we're an oppressed minority.
No, definitely. And I think Angus is going to join us in the next couple of years.
I'm looking forward to it.
I think that hairstyle should win the Turner Prize. That's a work of some construction.
I always wonder...
Oh, please. That's just jealousy now, Ian.
Yes, exactly. After the Mirror exclusively revealed that Tony Blair wears trendy Calvin Klein underpants, Charles Kennedy also claimed to be wearing some, though they just turned out to be ordinary pants with his initials sewn in. So to the very real attraction of the next round being our last. A number of incomplete sentences to consider, but this week with the, in theory, entertaining twist of being plucked from the mouths of various election pundits. So let's literally push off with, I've got as much chance of being Prime Minister as what?
As William Hague.
It's a long... William Hague's got to be spelt out.
Yeah.
Oh, he was said by someone with a stutter.
That's Fion's husband, William Hague.
Charles Kennedy.
No, none of these. This is Boris Johnson who said it.
Getting a comb through my hair.
No, being blinded by a champagne cork or decapitated by a frisbee. He does come out with them, though, doesn't he, Boris?
Oh,
he comes out with some extraordinary things. He said recently, married couples allowance. Now, that's a good thing. I think unmarried couples should get it. As long as they get married. Next, the last time I came face-to-face with John Prescott, I what?
I woke up in casualty.
I tried to make an omelette using his face.
I recognise that.
Oddly enough, it was, I thought he was going to hit me, and it was said by Giles Brandreth,
Yep.
yes. Yeah.
Well, yes, indeed. The last time I came face-to-face with John Prescott, I did think he was going to hit me. I was at number 10 Downing Street for a little cosy chat with Tony Blair, the Prime Minister. Yes. And John...
Oh, that Tony Blair, right, yes.
And John Prescott came out of the cabinet room and saw me standing there.
Right.
And his face turned to thunder. He looked like a curious cross between Hannibal Lecter and Terry Scott. It was a truly terrifying sight.
Yes.
And as you know, he has this sort of way of using the English language like a Rubik cube. And he came towards me, and words failed him, and I saw his hand twitch. But on that occasion, he moved off.
Next, Jack Straw, trust the sun to what?
To rise in the morning,
To back the winner.
back the winner.
No, trust the sun to come up with such a brilliant idea was the quote, but what was it a reference to?
Oh.
The Sun's campaign to encourage people to get out and vote
Oh,
by
they
showing...
had girls dressed up in the party
Yeah.
colours.
Oh, and the
yes.
Home Secretary says this is a great idea.
Yeah. They had get 'em out rosettes.
No, there they are. There they are.
This stunt was incidentally criticised by the Daily Star for raising the whole tone of the political debate. Next, Mandelson. I'm always apprehensive about what?
Elections?
Guacamole. It's so bad for the cholesterol.
I can see where you're coming from.
Filling in mortgage applications.
Phoning up the passport office on behalf of people I know.
Taking my boyfriend up to Trocadero on a Saturday night.
That's more like it.
None of these things. He's apprehensive about interrupting bingo. Yes, it particularly unnerves him when someone shouts house, apparently. And who's been playing bingo?
Oh, yes, the press were playing bingo about the number of cliches that were mouthed by politicians.
Oh, on the Blair bus, was this?
You've been on the battle buses, haven't you?
I've been on all the battle buses. The
How do
Liberal
they compare?
Democrats had the best sandwiches.
Right.
Though it was white bread, which was not really very...
Not very Liberal Democrat, is
not
it?
very Liberal Democrat.
Yes. Next, Stephen Pound MP. If there's one thing that really pisses me off, it's what?
Having to change my name to Euro.
It is something like that, in fact, isn't it?
He actually said on a radio fan, if there's one thing that is pissing me off, it's people ringing up and complaining about the health service and going on about Labour underspending, because he thought it was a hoax call.
Yes.
And it wasn't, it was a real voter, because they'd never meet me, so they had no
Wasn't
idea
it?
what they sound like.
It's not right, is it?
Yes, it wasn't exactly worded like that. The right answer is middle-class whingers going on about fucking tuition fees, and as far as I'm concerned, if that's your attitude, you can shove your vote up your arse.
And he was a Labour candidate, was he?
Yes.
And they still won a landslide. They could do anything, couldn't
And he was voted in, yes.
No wonder he wants to change his name to Euro.
Yes, exactly. And finally, Haig, I will what on Friday?
Win.
Be Prime Minister on Friday.
I'll be winning, and if I don't, I'll be resigning on Friday.
I will become a management consultant.
I will be booked for the next series of Have I Got News for You?
Yeah.
On Friday.
Extremely unlikely.
He'd be very good.
Stop.
He'd be very good. Yeah. He'd be very good, and he might bring Fionn, who you'd like.
Walk into Downing Street is the right answer.
I will be...
That was William
As a
Hague.
tourist. Nice to have your holiday planned in advance, isn't it?
As a milkman, I think, more like. Indeed, here he was on his first day. Yes,
Bless.
William just
No, we
getting
all
out
like
of the
him
cab.
now, isn't it? As soon as a politician stops being a leader or stops being... We all like him, like Giles when he was an MP. We hated him. Now he's lovely. We all like him. John Major is now regarded as
The analogy's breaking down.
John Major is now a fantastic, distinguished statesman-like figure.
Margaret Thatcher.
Breaking down even further.
Margaret Thatcher doesn't necessarily hold up as well as all that.
Not sure any of it did, actually.
Yeah. Jim Callaghan, wise old head now.
We love him. Yeah.
Ted Heath. Ted Heath. Yeah.
I think the Volts are coming through.
I think before...
So you can do Ted Heath as an impression. Anybody else you can do?
Stafford Cripps is my speciality.
I have heard
I've
that,
seen
yes.
you doing it.
Although it is, I think, illegal in most civilised countries.
In the news this week, just hours after Labour's election victory, Ewan Blair picks the wrong time to ask his dad if he can borrow the car keys. And at a co-op in Hull, Pauline Prescott prepares for a celebration dinner party. As he relaunches his television career, it's a disappointing first episode of the new series Kilroy and Friends. And after 3 weeks of successfully keeping up the appearance of friendship, Gordon Brown's reward is not quite what he was expecting.
No, there he is, our chosen leader.
That's the person who voted for him. Oh, no, there are two of them.
Yeah.
Ah, there he is, going back to the crypt. It's morning. Ah, Galloway.
Yeah.
He's shaking a hand instead of chopping it off. Oh, blimey. The tan's gone. And he's gone back to spend more time with his family again. That was the election.
Yeah.
It was, yes.
The nation has spoken, and basically we've said, you know, Blair may be a liar, but he's the people's liar.
It is amazing, isn't it? During this election, it was proved that he was a liar. It was proved that we'd gone we'd gone to war because of regime change and not because of weapons of mass destruction, you'd have thought the British people would have, look, we're going to boot this wretch out. We'll get rid of him.
So what does that say about the Tories?
Well, I don't know what it... Well, the British people, I blame them for this election.
Now you are sounding like the Prime Minister.
The election needs a ref, really, isn't it? There was cheating and lying, so much, all of them. On every interview that they give, there's a man, you know, in a black ref's uniform with a whistle. You know, they allowed one lie. Second lie, blow the whistle, call my Blair. Right, one more of those, you're off.
Can you play your Joker at any point?
Yeah.
Kilroy.
Yeah. It's hard to find a more disliked man than Blair, but the Tories did. I think they might... I know he's had this Australian advisor, Linton Crosby, who sounds like a service station on the M3, but he made some...
It's a marginal.
Yes.
Linton Crosby.
I mean, they gave him catchphrases, and one of the ones he kept using was with me, what you see is what you get. And you thought, well, exactly, that is the problem. Yeah, a better catchphrase would have been, I'm not quite as creepy as I come across.
But Labour had already got that.
And the other thing was, I don't know whether he'd been coached, but his gestures it was like he was holding an invisible beach ball all the time. But the hands always moved in unison, like that. And I thought, I'm not voting for someone who can't move his hands independently. Even Kermit the Frog can do that.
It's grotesquely unfair.
I think the public got it right. Isn't that why it was so cheery, the election? Everyone said it's going to be very dull and that, you know, the result that everyone wanted couldn't be had, and it was had.
Yeah.
The politicians were very boring, but the electorate was terrific.
No, we didn't boot out Blair. We got him for another 5 years.
Well, depends on Mr Brown, doesn't it?
Yeah, the power lies with Brown now. When he made that intervention on Blair's behalf, you know, when he said, oh, he did consult Cabinet and I'd have done the same, and Blair said, I don't know if you watch very closely, Brown, as he got the, you know, he leant across, you could lip read, he said, you're my bitch now. He did. He's got him.
And during the election coverage during the night, did anybody see the exchange between Jeremy Paxman and George Galloway? Let's take a look at that.
Mr Galloway, are you proud of having got rid of one of the very few black women in Parliament?
What a preposterous question. I know it's very late in the night, but wouldn't you be better by starting by congratulating me for one of the most sensational election results in modern history?
Are you proud of having got rid of one of the very few black women in Parliament?
I'm not... Jeremy, move on to your next question.
Are you
because
proud?
I've got a lot of people who want to speak to me. If you ask that question again, I'm going. I warn you now.
Don't try and threaten me, Mr Galloway,
you're
please.
You're the one who's trying to badger me.
I'm not trying to badger you. I'm merely asking you whether you're proud of having driven out of Parliament one of the very few black women there.
You are actually conducting one of the even by your standards, one of the most absurd interviews I have ever participated in. I have just won an election. Can you find it within yourself to recognise that fact? Can't you find it within yourself even to congratulate me on this victory?
Congratulations, Mr Galloway.
Thank you very much indeed.
How do you propose to use your time in... Oh, I see. It's another occasion of you not wanting to talk to someone who doesn't agree with you.
Actually, Jeremy...
All right. David Lammy, what do you make of Mr Galloway?
This is, of course, the general election, which produced a totally unprecedented result that no one could possibly have foreseen. The exit polls got it right. In his victory speech, George Galloway launched a scathing attack on the war in Iraq, and Tony Blair immediately secured US backing to bring regime change to Bethnal Green and Bow. In the Airwash constituency, Robert Kilroy Silk finished in a humiliating 4th place. As the result was announced, the colour drained from his face and ruined his shirt. Paul and Peter, what's going on here?
OK. This is the two Dimblebees. There's the Jonathan on the left, David on the right.
London Eye, perhaps.
London Eye.
There's Maggie Thatcher leaving the country.
Yeah.
George Bush announcing his third successive election victory in Britain.
And this is the students in Gateshead painting the political map.
How then did the major television channels decide to cover this?
Well, they both had a Dimbleby.
Yeah.
They all did. Sky had a sister. Really? Katrina Dimbleby, yeah. Channel 5 had Kirsty Dimbleby.
Yeah.
And BBC Two had Dick and Dimbleby.
And which senior figures then were interviewed at the BBC's riotous party?
Ian?
Yeah.
Ian was on.
I managed to interview the, It was a long night. Lord Falconer. I asked him about postal voting.
Will his reply come through in a few days?
Peter Snow had the most phenomenal technology at his disposal. He had this battleground thing, which is in 3 sections, like a game of Chinese Go, and then the pieces, like Daleks, flew up in the air and stuck onto the swingometer, and then the swingometer did. It was absolutely fantastic. And what it did by the end of the evening is prove that the exit polls were more or less right.
Did you notice the way at the beginning of the evening everybody was saying the exit polls are wrong? That's the one thing which won't happen.
Yeah.
And actually they got it exactly right.
But I love the technology. I was sitting at one point next to Shirley Williams, and someone came up to her with a bit of paper and shoved it at her. And she said, apparently we've won Cardiff. And all the BBC people were tapping on the computer. And about an hour later, they said, oh, yeah, they've won Cardiff.
Yes, this is television's attempt to make the election interesting. ITV's coverage featured a boat party on the Thames, attended by Margaret Thatcher. Back in the studio, Tory MP Nicholas Soames mistakenly thought that Mrs Thatcher was in Venice, and after a couple of whiskies, so did she. Peter Snow's graphics also featured an animated Michael Howard. Now, there's a first. Just to remind you exactly what you voted for, The Sun ran an exclusive interview with the Blairs this week in which Cherie revealed Tony is very romantic. Every anniversary, he gets a piece of A4 paper, folds it in half and puts Tony loves Cherie with a drawing of a little stick man and a little stick woman and loads of kisses. I'm afraid I couldn't read any more as the rest of my newspaper was covered in vomit.
So... You speak to your news agent. It's outrageous.
I'm Jo Brand. Welcome to Have I Got Election News for You? Specially recorded after election night, so we'd know exactly what the final outcome was. Well, that worked. On the kind of day that makes our political system the envy of the world, yes, we've got no government.
Does that mean we can do what we like?
Yes. At a polling station in Manchester, as 10 o'clock approaches, it looks like 1 or 2 voters may miss out. After exit polls suggest a victory in Eastbourne, the Young Conservative Club party into the early hours. While giving Nick Clegg a lift home in the Lib Dem battle boat, Vince Cable realises he's forgotten his driving glasses.
Good audience noise, that was fantastic. It's like you actually on that boat.
A bad week gets worse for Gillian Duffy as she hears she's not got the part of Nora Batty's sister in The Last of the Summer Wine.
You're a joke.
And on Paul's team is one of the few politicians who knows what the future holds for him. A regular slot bantering with Jeff Stelling in Dictionary Corner. Please welcome Lembit Opik. Ian and John, take a look at this.
Queues. Yeah, people wanting to vote.
Unmanageable turnout of 65%.
What do they think this is? South Africa? Get out of it! Now, that's the Lib Dem votes being chucked in the river. Off you go!
My votes, my votes.
That's someone explaining they haven't a clue. Goodbye to you. Go and watch a film, one of your husbands. Hello, Gordon. Well, the people people have spoken, as Joe said, and they've said, not sure.
We don't know any of you.
Oh, what about you? I don't know. No, it's very exciting. We've got a new Prime Minister, Gordon Brown. You've never voted for him before, and you didn't vote for him this time. So, democracy working pretty damn well, I think.
Does this mean this is going to carry on?
What, this show? God.
The whole I thought at least it would be finished this morning, but it's not, is it? It's going to be months of...
Months of it?
In some cases, it has.
It's good that you're not dwelling on it, though.
I'm completely over it.
After 19 years, is it? Presumably it's...
13 years and 4 days, roughly. I mean, I'm not counting, but...
Somebody was.
If I was Brown, and today I would just resign and then run naked through the streets of London going, you're the bigot, you're the bigot, you're the bigot. Can't touch me now, bigots. But they're all still... They're trying to make friends, aren't they? They're trying to do a, hey... They're like passing notes on the news this morning going, tell Nick I think he's fit, Gordon.
It is indeed the overwhelmingly indecisive outcome of the election. In fact, we only know one result for sure. Don't we, Lembit?
Can we get on with this? I've actually got an appointment at the job centre in about half an hour.
They phoned earlier, they cancelled.
Your party got a quarter of the vote and 50 seats. So that's good, that's working then.
And former Lib Dem leader Lord Ashdown said, the country has spoken, but we don't know what they've said.
That is the best thing about this election, though, isn't it? Because everybody has no idea what they're talking about. There's hours and hours of telly. I watched Bruce Forsyth last night being asked about the niceties of our Parliament. So, Brucey, what do you think? Well...
Nice tea for the hung Parliament, they're nice tea.
That's really good to say.
Do you want to have a look at the lovely Brucey, shall we?
Very encouraging. But I must say, Andrew, I feel very uncomfortable because I never have my back to an audience. There's my audience. Quiet, please! Quiet, please! Nice to see you! To see you! I never have my back to the audience, you see. Sorry about that.
He knows about as much as everybody else.
The most depressing thing I saw on telly last night was Joan Collins. Were you on that boat with her?
Yeah.
They let her talk about stuff as if she knew what... And they said, why do you like David Cameron? She went, I just like him and he's good for families. You know what? Do you know what about single people? Do you
like
know?
herself.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, there's this view that families deserve all the tax breaks, but, you know, they're married with kids. They've already got a reason to go home. The tax cuts should go to people like me so I could buy more DVDs to forget I exist for 2 hours a day.
What happened to Esther Ranson?
She lost.
She lost her deposit?
No deposit. She lost her deposit, she did.
Good.
Yes, indeed, yeah. Well, someone has to say it, that's life. I know, no cigar for that one, sorry.
Right, now, everyone was hoping Ed Balls would provide a Portillo moment. Michael Portillo said this week, my name is now synonymous with eating a bucket load of in public.
Well, he will do these game shows.
Haven't been on that one yet.
No. The offer will be coming, don't worry. Or maybe not. I mean,
I do hope so.
Yeah, so do I.
That was the most depressing use of the word yet I've ever heard in my entire life.
Did you stay up for Lembit? It was. It's the most important thing that happened in the election.
Because?
It's quite funny.
I was expecting a bit more than that, wasn't you?
Ladies and gentlemen, the great thing about losing my seat is I can actually take a fee for this now instead of getting this kind of abuse for nothing.
Yes, the results are in and the people have spoken. The final result is still up in the air, unlike UKIP's plane.
Oh, that's good. They're clapping a plane crash.
No, I think there's a mood in this audience today, which is a mood of sort of like, thank God it's over for a bit, and let's just take the piss out of the whole business. I think that's the mood that's in the audience today. So you're very lucky you haven't come to see the Antiques Roadshow.
Apparently the plane crash was caused by the banner they were towing mixing up with the prop at the front. I mean, how slowly were they going? I mean, backwards?
The loop, maybe?
It still doesn't work.
No.
You can't break the laws of physics.
No. Ah, say that in a Scottish accent and I've got a job for you.
In that case, I'll try. You can't break the laws of physics.
Star Trek!
There we are. Absolutely.
I'm interested in the human story of what Lem is going to do now.
Oh, go for it, then.
Are there any headhunters in the audience?
You just failed your
whatever it is you're looking for, really. I don't know yet.
It's brutal democracy, isn't it?
No, but you are. You were horrible to me the last time I was on the show as well, you were.
I don't believe it. It's the sort of lies you politicians tell.
I'm not a politician!
Do you want to do a rabble-rousing speech on behalf of our coalition?
I think what we offer is not them, basically. People are sick of you coming on here making fun of the contestants, you know? Just because I'm having a bit of a hard time at the moment, lend us the price of a cup of tea, I'll give it back to you next week. I don't mean nothing, Governor. I've got me harmonica and can play that for you if you want. And I have. No, I have.
Got to find some change.
I have.
Are we witnessing a mental breakdown?
You do the singing and I'll do the playing.
Are you happy to stay there?
Yeah, very happy.
Yeah, OK. Let's move on, then.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not saying it's permanent. It may only be around.
Yeah.
We will let the public decide.
Oh, it may be.
Don't do that.
Forever. To be naked.
OK, get on with it.
This is great. You're right in the middle of it. It's just sitting on the end like a bozo. No offence.
David Cameron.
Fish and chips.
A person. Someone.
We are
Nick
good
Clegg.
together.
Yeah. Oh, a man complaining about nuclear power, was it? Yeah, nuclear power he was complaining about.
A woman?
No, not a woman. It was Duffy. And this was a happier time for me. And a very happy time for him, because he practiced that smile probably all his life. Just for that screensaver moment.
The bitterness is just oozing out of the man.
You'd be bitter if you were me.
Yeah, I would. But I'm not, so I'm not.
You've got a feel for Gordon Brown. I mean, all he did was get into a car while mic'd for sound after having spoken to one of his loyal supporters and called her a bigoted woman. I mean, who at some point in their lives hasn't done that when they're Prime Minister?
There's no way during this campaign David Cameron hasn't got in his car after a meet and greet and gone, what a dickhead.
See, I mean, you know...
Yeah, but he didn't get caught doing it, so the word dickhead tends to apply to the Prime Minister.
They spent 40 minutes in her house saying sorry. That's a long apology. Yeah,
and she didn't
vote
vote for him
Are you
anyway.
suggesting there was something else going on? Maybe it was all a bit of a plan on his part. Call her a bigot. Pop back later. Sorry about that. Then comes out grinning. That's the way I read the situation politically.
You should really write porn.
Too busy living it, mate.
Now they're applauding pornography.
Pornography air crashes. This audience will applaud anything.
No wonder they couldn't come to a decisive decision at the polls.
I've got a dead kitten in my pocket. Thank you, that was great.
So, Gordon Brown is still Prime Minister despite Biddygate.
Yes.
According to the Mail on Sunday...
He might not be by the repeat.
No.
You could have David Miliband as Prime Minister, and you haven't voted for him either. exciting, that, wouldn't it? Or Harriet Harman.
Oh, no. Seems that Harriet Harman's not as popular as a dead kitten.
However, Ed Balls was remaining optimistic.
Mr. Balls, thank you very much for joining us. First of all, there's been this story going the rounds on Twitter and all the rest of it that you've been defeated. Have you heard anything about your result yet or not?
David, the ballot boxes haven't even arrived in the count. And they've got to be counted, and then we'll get the results. So I think maybe you should spend less time on Twitter and more time reporting the results when they're actually declared.
Let's just see how
that's
it
the
panned
Shadow
out for
Chancellor.
him.
So good of him to explain the whole process. They get the votes in and then they count them. Well, thank you, Ed. Thank you for your insight, you little expert.
He's an economist. He's good with figures.
Should we see how it panned out for him?
Ed Balls, in the last few minutes, Shadow Chancellor lost his seat to the Conservatives.
Is that an R?
No. No, I think
this
some
is
people
the
would...
Shadow Chancellor.
No, some people were genuinely surprised, I think. There were some people over here who didn't know.
I'm sorry. I thought it was a wave of empathy.
Is David Dibbleby going to call him and go, have they been counted now, Ed?
Now, Twitter's always a pleasure to follow with big events like this, isn't it, Ian?
It is, yeah. I knew about that weeks ago.
For example, Conservative Claire Perry tweeted after Mark Reckless lost his seat, and to be fair, she was very gracious about it. Hallelujah, Mark Reckless out. Don't let the door hit your fat arse as you leave. Well, I have to say, Sky's Adam Bolton took a rare opportunity to have a snack.
And we'll leave it there, and I'll pass it back to you, Adam.
Thank you very much indeed, Ed.
Had he volunteered to eat Paddy's hat for him or something?
Just stop for a minute, please. Lynn Clegg has resigned, so I just want to get that.
Oh. Do you hear that?
Yes.
Lynn Clegg has resigned.
Hold on a second. Don't applaud. Do we have to start this from the top now?
Do you think Ed is going to resign?
Ed's going to resign.
Yeah. What about Cameron? See, I don't reckon he's up for another term.
What a maverick move that would be. Thanks so much, and goodbye.
Anyway, it's been a long night of interviews, everyone rushing to get on all the channels. John, you've had to interview people in a hurry in your time, haven't you? Here's a recent example.
Who concluded very firmly that what they were doing was lawful, it was proportionate, it was not intruding on privacy, and above all else, it was legal. Forgive me, I have to run for a train.
Right, yeah, OK.
How unfortunate is that?
This is the result of election night. One SNP gain from Labour saw Britain's youngest MP for over 300 years win the seat of Paisley and Renfrewshire, or as the BBC called it, Paisley and Renfrewshire Sound. George Galloway lost his seat, although presumably it wasn't his fault. Before the count, he was confident of retaining his seat, but in the end proved he had all the psychic powers of Paddy Ashdown, as he lost by more than 10,000 votes. Here is Galloway. Paul and John, take a look at this.
OK, so Nick Clegg celebrating the inevitable.
That's from headstone to headstone.
Yeah. There's the man saying goodbye, and there's the... that's what he's... what is he looking at in there?
Just vote, for goodness sake. Whining here.
It's a message from his brother, David. He said, I'm coming home.
I wonder if David's actually been orchestrating things from behind the scenes. We're just phoning up Ed going, no, the stone tablet's a great idea. No, it's really... no, they'll love it. It's going to be amazing.
It was a terrific piece of counter-austerity. It cost £30,000.
Did it really?
Yeah. I mean, the weirdest thing about it was that he did the stone tablet, massive stone tablet, and then signed it like someone else might claim that work as their own. Did he do it? I think that was Banksy that did that, yeah.
Well, I think maybe he said, oh, you know, I forgot the deficit in my last speech. How can I remember it? And they said, put it on your tablet.
But unfortunately, it's one of those metaphors that comes to haunt you. So he makes the stone tablet, and then his head of policy says in an interview, so, is he going to keep all those pledges? And she says, well, no, I mean, it's not as though they're, the phrase, set in stone. Offering over the top.
He was advised to do it by one of his team of special election twats. Possibly one called Torsten Henriksen Bell.
It's the working men's party.
Well, just in case my other joke didn't get it, I'll say it will go from headstone to headstone.
I mean, I don't want to be the first to say it, but, you know, Paxman, really, it's not in your league.
That could be taken in two ways.
What's one of the more practical problems to do with Ed's slab?
What are you going to do with it?
Well, there is that, but also no one's sure where it is now.
Oh, John thinks it's in Hastings.
John, how do you know it's in Hastings?
Well, it certainly was in Hastings. That's where it happened, in a car.
Right. But you don't know if it's still there?
I haven't been down to check, but I'm going.
You must take me on this little day out.
I'm going to send someone.
Are you going to send Jeremy Paxman? Send him. Tell him it's a secret mission.
Yeah. I'll go if you want, because I've got some relatives in Hastings, so I could kill two birds with one stone. Thank you. Right, now, where have all the leaders actually been in the last 7 days?
All over the country. They're travelling all around.
Quite literally.
Yes.
They have, indeed. Where did Nick Clegg go? Does anyone know?
South East.
No, from Land's End to John O'Groats.
Oh, did he?
That's
With a stop
right.
in Coventry.
Indeed.
Imagine if he hadn't have done that. What would have happened then?
He was meeting ordinary voters, at least the ones who didn't know he was coming. And he, according to the Times, in Newquay, he hovered over a pan with sausages and eggs. And he also cooked a curry in Cardiff. What else did he do in the name of alliteration? Does anyone know? Poached a perch in Penrith? Had a wank in Worcester? I don't know. Don't worry, Ian, that won't go out.
I bet it will.
Now, I had to go canvassing myself, and we were just knocking on people's doors, and the door next to me, sadly not mine, opened about an inch, and a woman's voice floated out and said, I'm naked, but I'm voting Labour. The Tories have been pretty much wiped out in Scotland, as usual. Would you like to see Scottish Tory leader Ruth Davidson doing some politics?
Let's not undo all of the hard work of the last 5 years. It is the stability that's got our country back on track that's allowed us to go faster than this over the past 5 years.
Back
A
on
lot
track.
better than skunk.
No, I might move to Scotland. And we start with Ian and Ross. Take a look at this.
This must be the election.
Yes,
Is there an election on?
Yeah, there was, yeah.
Oh, I should have watched the telly.
Yes. Terrific. The British public have spoken, and no one knows what they've said. It's a good look.
He's won. Look, he thinks he's won.
I think, I mean, it's absolutely amazing result. I mean, everybody who was predicting it was completely wrong. But what seems to have happened is the British public, they don't like being told what to think, and they don't like people getting above themselves. So Mrs May just got a huge slap. I'll take half your majority away. Shut up, shut up, shut up.
I love your characterisation of the British public as this one sort of tetchy individual.
Yeah.
Look at us. Slight air of camp about it, let's be fair.
Yeah. That's how I view them. And they also don't like people picking on people. So Corbyn got a massive sympathy vote.
Boomf!
There's one. No, I mean, it was absolutely extraordinary. And those of us who stayed up all night...
You sound a bit hoarse. Were you shouting at the screen for a long time?
Nearly 5 hours. No, I mean, it was amazing, and it was just completely unpredictable. Whatever you thought you knew was completely wrong.
Don't you think it's time to get rid of the British public? I mean...
They are getting in the way, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah. They're getting in the
I
way.
mean, to be fair, that is what May is planning to do.
Because
we've got too many old people, so she's just going to go, I think we could just get rid of them. Yeah. As quickly as possible. I mean, we had it with Europe, we've had it with the local elections. I mean, they keep doing things that we don't want them to do, and it's... I don't know, they've gone too far. Enough is enough.
Yes.
Although, to be fair, they didn't vote in Mr Fishfinger. There he is. There he is.
I think that's cruel. He might have been born like that. Imagine giving birth to that and being told by the doctor he's a boy, but he's a fish finger as well.
And Amber Rudd, don't you think... Am I the only one who thinks Amber Rudd sounds like a traffic light sequence? So... So she stood for the Green Party, be Amber Rudd Green.
It's like the highway code.
I said that on the programme about 8 months ago.
What happened?
Oh, Steve.
We got off the election because we're not
Who's
interested.
lost their seat? Yeah, OK, all right.
Paul Nuttall.
Paul Nuttall has just resigned.
Paul Nuttall's resigned. Well, that's not bad. He had a disappointing evening. Their seats went from 0 to 0. Which is tough.
But hang on, though. He claims he's resigned, but that might just be what it says on his website.
Yeah.
You know, might find out he's still got his job.
Now, it was an amazing night for Jeremy Corbyn. Alan, you described him as useless, incompetent and incapable.
You're reading things into that, and this is... And it's typical of the mainstream media attacking. So Hislop and his establishment paper, Public Eye, whatever it is.
Yes.
And you just make up these
Can I
things.
just say at this point, I'd like to congratulate Jeremy on a very, very good campaign. I'm not serious. He was terrible, but he wasn't as terrible as her. That's all that matters. You start from a really low bar, a huge success.
But
he's now as successful as Gordon Brown was when he lost.
Jeremy was very pleased. He attempted a high five with Emily Thornton.
Yes.
Should we have a look?
Yes, let's have a look at that.
Well, almost a victory party.
Essentially, he saw the opportunity was there. Everybody would see it as a mistake.
And that's the thing, like, typical of a politician, he just fronted it out and pretended it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Whereas what he should have done is he should have just owned it and gone, ha, ha, ha. And just, you know...
So no one could quite believe the exit poll when it was announced at 10 p.m. But sadly for Theresa May, exit meant exit. Let's have a look at somebody that was helping out. It's the expert behind the poll, Professor John Curtis, who was made to stand on a balcony and shout down at David Dimbleby.
For those of you who watched, there were 7 hours of people going, it's too early to say, it's too early... No, it's not early anymore, it's, oh, damn, it's right.
And there was quite a lot of him, like, once you got into the early hours going...
Yeah.
In fact, there's probably footage of him on that scaffolding there going, come on!
Finally, in this round, have a look at this picture and tell me which one of these microphones hits Boris Johnson in the face. You've all got to pick one, OK?
I'll go for the biggest blue one.
I'll go for the red one.
I'll go for the one that says "off."
I'll go for that black one on the end there.
OK. Shall we have a look?
Yeah. Yeah.
The people voted by a convincing majority to
Go on,
leave
come on,
the
Bluey.
EU.
Go on, Blue. Go on, Blue. Go on, Blue. Go on, son. Take it out, son. Go on, son. Blue, stay out.
There's evidence that now the election's over and done with, someone's got a lot of presents to wrap up for his generous Russian donors.
Not to mention all his children.
In Maidstone, one rookie reporter hasn't been told that the venom in Dominic Raab's spittle can be deadly. And as a last throw of the dice on the campaign trail, Jeremy Corbyn utters the magic words to summon up the legendary beardy man of Barnsley.
The Tories have had 9 years to fund our NHS properly.
And we start with the bigger stories of the week. Ian and John, take a look at this.
Oh, right, hang on, here he comes. 5 seats, that's optimistic. That's your own personal exit poll. And there's Boris and the blonde he's in love with, himself. Well, didn't see that coming. Big win for Boris. Silence. Yes, but everyone a bit stunned. For those of us who stayed up all night, I think John Curtis just ruined it. And if you're going to tell us the result at 10 o'clock, why stay up? I had a friend who didn't watch at all, woke up and saw Boris Johnson saying, "I won a big majority," and was delighted, because thought he was lying, obviously. And it had been a good night, but sadly, it wasn't true. And it does prove the old adage, you know, you can fool most of the people most of the time if you lie enough.
What did Boris say last night had given him?
Just a
Had given
massive
him?
boner. Absolute stonk on.
He said in a speech it had given him a stonking mandate.
That used to be an aftershave, didn't it?
What's amazing, you have to look at it from Corbyn's point of view, the only warning we had, really, was all the times it's happened before and all the people who said this is exactly what would happen. So sometimes you've got to hold your hand up and say, who was to know? Apart from all the people who knew.
And literally everyone got it wrong. Even the most overexcited Tories thought they were going to get a few.
It's difficult for them to judge a system where it really should be... The number of MPs you have should be reflected by the number of memes that are retweeted on Twitter. Because up until 5 to 10, I thought, this is going to turn out all right, you know.
Yeah, well, Twitter had a big Labour win.
Yeah.
But as so often with Twitter, they're wrong.
It's not all bad news, though. I mean,
Yes, it is. Oh, no.
There are reasons to be cheerful.
Yeah, no, come on, reasons to be cheerful.
The Stop Brexit man will be back after Christmas, and Aldi are doing this.
Is that before or after you've eaten it?
That is a 2-metre-long pig in blanket. Look at that.
Wow.
Actually, bad news, it's sold out.
David Cameron bought them all, did he?
How did the great statesman James Cleverly sum up the evening?
Is this the Tory party chairman? I do love his name.
Here he is talking to Conservative activists.
This is the most successful political movement in the history of mankind.
Well, start as you mean to go on.
Yeah. And that's not just his opinion, that's the opinion of Fact Check UK.
We like a bit of ambition in the party. We're going to unleash Britain's and James's potential.
Right, that won't take long.
Boris thinks the BBC are biased against him. You could argue that ITN's Tom Bradby didn't look too impressed with the events of the evening. Here he is signing off at the end of his stint last night.
Over to Piers and Susanna at GMB.
What is oh dear Jeremy Corbyn going to do now?
Well, he can actually exceed his pledge and go beyond a 4-day week to now a 0-day week.
He said he's not going to fight the next general election. He barely fought this fight, to be honest.
It's important that he stays on with, you know, Seamus Milne and John Landsman and all these people to to just work out... Like the scene in Titanic where the captain goes back into the control room. He needs to make sure exactly where we steer the wreckage of the Labour Party onto the ground of the ocean floor. It's got to be a guided, very gentle descent to the very depths of what is possible. I hope that it's OK now to criticise Jeremy Corbyn. It would seem like a good time now to say, can we lay some of the blame at the door of a man who is in charge of protecting the most vulnerable people in the country and has left them absolutely firmly in the shit for 5 years.
You must be delighted to see Boris win.
I am.
Now that you've resigned.
No, I've decided to step back from politics. I'm not a next Tory, by the way.
Just at the
I'm very
moment
much a
where even you would have won.
Even I. My seat I won from the opposition in 2010.
Who were you up against? Was it Lord Binhead?
No, that was in Uxbridge, I think, wasn't
Uxbridge.
it? Yes.
yeah.
Bucketface and Binhead.
That was a big event of the night, actually. Just have a quick look now when Buckethead faced Binface.
Harvey Jonathan David, commonly known as Count Binface, independent, 69. Hughes David Stephen, commonly known as Lord Buckethead, the official monster raving loony party, 125.
Why were they so keen to get the vote done quickly in Leeds?
Is that where they wanted to be first?
No, have a look at this.
We've been told we will have to clear out if the counting goes on beyond that because they need to set up for a Venga Boys concert.
You remember the Venga Boys, of course, Ian?
No.
Do you remember that?
The Venga bus is coming.
Yes, the one.
And everybody's jumping. There's a slogan on the side. It's a bunch of lies. Yeah, the Venga bus is the most honest bus of the last 20 years in this country.
Who are the great so-called Ramona casualties of the night?
Well, Joe Swinson. Swinson, sorry.
Yes.
How quickly they forget.
Yeah.
Of course, it caused Nicola Sturgeon to have this reaction.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it. A fellow woman MP Remainer lost her seat. Yeah!
It sounds like football, but it's Scotland, so it can't be football.
What has Joe Swinson had to do, according to party rules?
She had to resign.
To allow someone even worse to take over, namely Ed Davey or Baroness Brinton, or possibly both. Let's have a look at some of Joe Swinson's best bits. Oh. Yes, this is the news that Boris Johnson's massive gamble has paid off. She's not pregnant.
You've got no proof of that.
It's the election result and a massive Tory majority. So now Boris Johnson can get on with his Brexit deal, which he assures us is oven-ready, though he may have to wait before using that oven, as there are a lot of Labour candidates queuing up to put their heads in it. Paul and Nikki, take a look at this.
Yes, Boris Johnson on a phone-in. Jeremy Corbyn, how many minutes left as leader? This is her new job. She's doing quite well there. He's about to go a little bit mad. There he is. And that's...
Christmas came early.
Everything's broken. So, yeah.
It's the last week of election campaigning, which really gripped the nation.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gripped.
Evidenced by this clip.
Yeah.
Are you excited? No, not a bit.
That could have been me.
Where did Boris begin his final day of campaigning?
He was delivering milk in, I was going to say Leeds, but I could be wrong.
Yorkshire. Let's just say Yorkshire. Let's have a look.
Hi.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Mrs. Waller. Are you Mrs. Waller?
Yes, yes.
Hello, good
Oh,
morning.
I didn't realise there were going to be this many people.
I've come to deliver your milk, Mrs. Waller.
How many pints, missus? Is your husband in?
How many pints of milk has that poor woman got then?
Yeah.
I was afraid of it.
They're obviously stockpiling there. They know something we don't.